Many people are purchasing a home here in San Antonio, and they're not just purchasing any home, they're purchasing new construction. Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about a couple topics you may want to consider when purchasing a new construction home here in San Antonio.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Let's check it out.
New construction homes are on the rise here in San Antonio, and you may be asking yourself, well, why is that? Well, they're outpacing that of resale homes just because the amount of incentives these new construction homes are offering to get buyers into the door. You have multiple programs when it comes to 3-2-1 buy downs, when it comes to $20,000 off of incentives, and really you kind of know what market you're in based on the incentives and the sentiment of new construction. I know back when we were at 3% interest rate or even 2% interest rates, home builders were actually offering blinds, refrigerators, washer and dryers, but now you're seeing upwards to $20,000 and maybe even $30,000 worth of incentives for your home purchase.
So if you're thinking about purchasing a new construction home, then besides the incentives, there are going to be a few things that you're going to want to be aware of and just be mindful of prior to making that purchase. And the first one on our list is actually going to be window covering. So here in San Antonio, not all new construction homes are going to automatically come with window coverings or blinds, as we like to call them. A lot of the times it's going to be an option through the home builder to add those into your home. Now, depending on the incentives that home builders are offering, that might be part of an incentive, is that they will go ahead and provide all the blinds for the home. But normally those blinds are not going to be there, which is really pretty crazy to me, especially here in San Antonio, just in Texas in general. We get that, massive heat wave during the summer. So you definitely want to make sure that you do have blinds on your windows. So I wish all home builders, offered blinds as just a standard part of the home, but unfortunately that's not the way it is here. But they do offer that as an option. You'll have to pay more money to put blinds in throughout the house. So just something that you want to keep in mind and possibly budget for.
But that's why you may want to call us. Alyssa and I are a husband and wife team here in the San Antonio area, and we would love to assist you with all of your real estate needs. So whether you're thinking of relocating to San Antonio, whether it be for work or just looking for a change of scenery, we would love to assist you in any way we can and just be a resource of information for you. So feel free to reach out to us with the information on the screen with a phone call, text, or email, and we would love to help. Now let's get back to the video.
And one last thing regarding the blinds before we move on to the next topic is going to be that some home builders will not add blinds in as a standard with the home, just because feedback that they get from clients is that a lot of people like to add their own type of window coverings, right, to the windows. So besides blinds, there's just a whole range of window coverings that you can utilize, such as Roman shades or shutters, which are really nice and actually add value to a home. So that's also one reason why a builder may not automatically give blinds as a standard in the home. You can purchase them through the builder, but some people opt to have their own window coverings and purchase them after they've moved in.
Now the next item on the list is going to be your landscaping. Now when I mention landscaping, I mean your front and back sod, your front and back grass, right? So you may find it interesting that some home builders may not include landscaping in the backyard or maybe even in the front yard. Sometimes it could be an upcharge, but some incentives include maybe irrigation or front sod. Now I know some home builders actually don't put grass in the backyard because what they're finding after a bunch of reviews from different clients and purchases that have been made in the community, they find that the back grass tends to be picked up anyway because they want to add a pool, they want to
extend their back
patio, and then they're going to have to reroute all the irrigation around there. And so it just avoids having to do that in the long term, right? So they say, hey, we may not even add the back grass.
Yes, but most of the times the home builders will have sod and a couple of trees planted in the front. So they'll do that type of landscaping in the front, but backyard, you'll normally find that it's going to be an upcharge, or a separate charge. But again, going back to incentives, you may find home builders right now that are offering full sod front and back. Now, whether grass is something that the builder is adding in for you or you're purchasing it on your own after you move into your home, one thing that you do want to be aware of is the type of grass you have or the type of grass that you're going to purchase for your yard. And that's just going to be really important because you want to make sure that you understand the type of care that grass needs, such as Bermuda grass, St. Augustine, or zoysia, yes, like Frank mentioned. They're all going to have their own types of care. You just want to make sure that you understand the type of grass you have and the type of care that it needs, how much it needs to be watered or how often it needs to get cut.
And let's face it, here we're in San Antonio where it's about that Texas heat, right? So if you have zoysia or even in St. Augustine, you're gonna have to dump a whole lot of water into the grass to make sure you maintain it and to make sure it is green for the most part, right? When it comes to Bermuda, they're a little bit more resistant to the heat, but you may still have to have those sprinklers on more than once.
Now, moving on to the next topic, which may surprise some, especially if you're living up north and you're used to a basement in your home. You might be surprised to find that here in San Antonio and just Texas in general, the residential homes here do not have basements.
Right, now the answer to that is really because the water table here is low, and honestly, it's actually going to be more of an additional cost just to input that basement or place that basement underground, just because we have a lot of limestone, we have a lot of hard rock, and the amount of time it takes to break through all that rock just to add a basement may not be cost effective, right?
Yeah, so really to put it in simple terms, the Texas soil here is not basement friendly.
Now on the flip side of not having basements here in San Antonio, what we do have are attics in our homes. Now we utilize them personally for storage up above our garage, but we have personally seen it, but we have heard that people utilize that as an extra loft area. What they'll do is they'll insulate it, they'll actually add walls, and just have that space as another bedroom, if you will. Now be mindful that if you do install another additional room in your attic, heat rises, right? So same idea as a two-story home where heat rises. Some two-stories mainly come with 2 AC units. Well, in this particular situation, you want to make sure it is well ventilated and is well insulated, because heat rises, especially in the attics, right? So the attics do get hot here in San Antonio. That's why we personally utilize them for storage. Now that's not too far off of what could be done.
Yeah, so that's just one other thing to be mindful of, especially if you're used to having a basement.
Now the next item on the list that we want to talk about is going to be resale value. Now I get it, we're talking about resale and we haven't even made the relocation to San Antonio yet, or for that matter, even purchased a home. But what I want to do is, even if we get on a Zoom call, what I like to do is kind of zoom out and look at the big picture, right? One day, depending on the longevity of that home that you choose to live in or purchase at the time, how long will you be there? Will you be there 5 years, 10 years, for the long run? Because sometimes if it is within 5 years, you want to make sure you're purchasing a home that will have positive resale value when that time comes.
Right, and one thing I want to mention is that just because a home is new construction, you definitely want to make sure that whatever realtor you're working with, they're going to still do a CMA, which is that comparative market analysis on that home. And like I said, just because it's new construction, it's going to work the same way as resale. You want to make sure that you're getting, the comparable homes in that area, and making sure that whatever that list price is on that home is actually a fair and reasonable price for you.
Right, so just as an example, if you're looking at purchasing a resale home, a home that's previously on the market, you're always going to want to negotiate that price, right? You're not just going to want to pay the price of the actual home. You want to do your due diligence, get an inspection. That inspection report comes out with some information, and you may want to negotiate with the seller and say, hey, can you fix this, or at least give me some money, concessions, if you will, in lieu of those repairs. So same idea. So if you're purchasing a new construction home, just because they're listing the home at whatever price that it's showing for, doesn't mean you just outright pay it out. You want to make sure you're paying a price that benefits you.
Now, one other thing to note when it comes to the resale value is that if you're looking into a neighborhood that has more than one home builder, then you want to make sure, or just, keep in mind that if you have different home builders, like let's say for instance, if you have one that's more of an entry-level home builder, and then you also have a luxury home builder in the same neighborhood, that may affect the resale later on down the line. So you just definitely want to be mindful and just be aware of certain aspects when you're looking into neighborhoods that do have more than one home builder in them. Now, if you are interested in purchasing a new construction home, whether that be an inventory home or a custom built home, these are just some items that you do want to keep in mind and be aware of prior to getting into a purchase. Like we mentioned earlier, new construction is really on the rise, and not only are home builders offering a ton of incentives right now, there are so many new construction communities popping up all over the city.
Right, and if you're thinking of relocating to San Antonio and you have any questions about the new construction area here in San Antonio, we would love to assist you in any way we can. We're out in the market daily. We've taken numerous amount of our clients to these new construction home sites and realizing the amount of incentives there really are out there. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us with the information on the screen with a phone call, text, or email, and we would love to help. We know this was a quick video. We hope you enjoyed all the information we had to offer. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys on the next video.